Algorithms are grooming citizens. Civic education is our countermeasure. Most of us can feel it. The temperature online keeps rising, and nobody seems quite sure when the next spark turns into something we all regret. We talk about radicalization as if it's happening in a far corner of the internet, but the truth is simpler. People go where the algorithms take them, and the algorithms take them where the engagement is. Sometimes that means a recipe video. Sometimes that means a conspiracy forum. The platforms don't have motives, they have incentives. And incentives can steer honest people into very narrow rooms. But that's only half the picture. Most Americans don't want to ban speech or police every post. They want a way to stay grounded without having to unplug from their own lives. That's where civic education earns its place. Not as a nostalgia project, but as a practical defense. Teaching people how to read a headline, check a source, or slow down before sharing. Those are small skills that build real resilience. They don't silence anyone, they strengthen everyone. I've seen the same thing in uniform and in public service. The surest way to counter a bad idea is to equip people with the tools to recognize it early, not wait until it's grown teeth. When schools bring media literacy into the classroom, when communities teach digital citizenship the same way they teach stranger danger, we're not restricting speech, we're raising the floor. Now that handles one pressure point. The other is the tone of our politics itself. We're living in a moment where harsh rhetoric has become the national soundtrack. And the data is blunt. Most Americans believe that kind of language pushes us closer to violence. Not always directly, but enough to matter. You don't need a PhD to see it. When leaders treat opponents as enemies, their supporters follow the signal. When leaders treat disagreement as disloyalty, the room splits. Here's the part we don't like to say out loud. Every side has contributed to this. And the evidence shows the public knows it. Which means any solution worth trying has to start with something simple. Visible, bipartisan condemnation of inflammatory rhetoric, no matter who says it. Not to score a point, and not to own the other team, but to model restraint at the top so it has a chance of reaching the rest of us. That's not naive. It's how grown nations endure. When lawmakers from opposite sides stand together and say, "We're not doing this," it lowers the temperature. When they don't, the rest of us pay the price. There's one last point that ties these threads together. The platforms, the schools, the communities, they can't solve radicalization alone. And Washington can't legislate our way out of a cultural problem. But together, they can close the gaps where extremism thrives. Isolation, distrust, and the feeling that nobody is hearing you. Civic education gives people tools. Communities give them belonging. Leaders give them an example. Platforms give them transparency. If we want a calmer future, it's not about silencing each other. It's about strengthening the ability to listen without losing our footing. That's the work. It's slower than outrage and quieter than the headlines, but it's the only path that lasts. And if we can pull that off, even a piece of it, we'll leave our kids a country that's harder to manipulate and easier to stand in. A place where disagreements stay disagreements, where rhetoric doesn't become a spark, and where the algorithm doesn't decide who we're becoming. That's a future still within reach, but it needs adults in the room. Let's be those adults. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.